He drinks champagne in space, throws billion-dollar parties on private islands, and kite surfs across oceans with nothing but a grin, sometimes with a model hanging off his back, because, of course he does. He's not just rich, he's Richard Branson, the flamboyant barefoot billionaire from Britain who built a global empire on boldness, broke every business rule in the book, and somehow made luxury look like playtime. Today, we're taking a tour into his sun-soaked islands, eco-palaces in the mountains, private submarines that glide under turquoise waves, and aircraft that fly above the clouds, and sometimes beyond the planet. We'll see how he moves between worlds in his custom Falcon jet, uncover the luxury retreats he built from scratch, sip the aged spirits he swears by, and walk through spaces so exclusive they've only ever hosted royalty and Branson himself. This is the flamboyant, fearless, and fabulously luxurious life of Richard Branson. Before the yachts, the islands, and the private jets, there was just a teenager with dyslexia, no formal education, and a dream so noisy it couldn't be ignored. In the 1970s, Richard Branson launched a tiny record label from a church basement, and within years, he was signing legends like the Rolling Stones and Janet Jackson. Not because he followed the industry, but because he did the exact opposite of what it expected. Fast forward to today, and Branson has founded over 400 companies across every industry you can imagine. Airlines, mobile phones, luxury trains, private islands, hotel chains, banks, health clubs, wine labels, space exploration, you name it, and he's stamped Virgin on it and made it exciting. But this isn't corporate gray suit money. This is rock star money, earned with adventure, charm, and an instinct for spectacle. His net worth is estimated at $5 billion, though Branson himself couldn't care less about the number. What matters to him is what it lets him build, own, experience, and disrupt. The business empire has become a passport into the most exclusive circles, a vehicle for global influence, and a constant reminder that luxury is better when it's loud, rebellious, and just a little bit insane. And the best place to witness that philosophy is on the private island he calls home. In 1978, Richard Branson was barely 28, still building Virgin Records, and very much not a billionaire. But when he spotted a listing for a private island in the British Virgin Islands, he did what Branson always does. He made an offer no one else would dare. The asking price was $6 million. Branson, with all the audacity in the world, offered $100,000. The realtor was so insulted he left him stranded. But fate loves the bold, and a year later, with no other buyers in sight, he sealed the deal for just $180,000. That island is now what we know as Necker Island. We are talking about a luxury retreat that hosted Princess Diana, Barack Obama, Mariah Carey, and anyone whose name makes headlines. You see, this property spreads across 74 acres of sun-soaked perfection. It is definitely more than a beachfront property. It's a floating kingdom of open-air villas, Balinese-style pavilions, floating dining decks, flamingos that stroll like they own the place, and infinity pools that melt into the sea. Branson poured over $10 million into transforming it into one of the world's most elite private escapes, complete with tennis courts, multiple helipads, a full-service staff, and zero paparazzi. Even Hurricane Irma, which flattened much of the island in 2017, couldn't keep Branson down. Within a year, he rebuilt it better, greener, and more lavish than before. Because luxury is personal to him. And if you think his land game is strong, wait till you see what Branson flies, tows, and launches into space. When it comes to life in the sky, Richard Branson doesn't just fly private. He builds the aircraft, launches the rockets, and designs the future of space tourism. His obsession with flight isn't about convenience, it's about flying in style. So, his array starts with his sleek Dassault Falcon 50EX, a tri-engine private jet with cream leather interiors, polished trim, and the unmistakable Virgin Blue call sign, MVGIN, marked proudly on its tail. This jet was built for range, comfort, and Branson-level swagger. This jet costs a whopping $6 million. Talk about splurge. But Branson doesn't just fly through the sky, he also engineers it. His partnership with aerospace legend Burt Rutan gave birth to the Virgin mothership Eve, a futuristic twin fuselage aircraft that looks like something straight out of a sci-fi film. You see, Eve's job was to lift another Branson brainchild, Spaceship Two, high above the Earth and release it for suborbital launch. In 2021, aboard VSS Unity, a second version of Spaceship Two was live, and this made Branson the first billionaire to fly to space aboard his own spacecraft. And as you would imagine, it was televised for the world to see. But behind the glamour is serious infrastructure. Branson's White Knight 2, another Virgin Galactic mothership, supports training flights, test drops, and media spectacles. He even built Spaceport America in the New Mexican desert, a $200 million launch facility shaped like a spaceship buried in sand. It's the first commercial spaceport on Earth, and Branson made it look like a Bond villain's bachelor pad. Of course, his love for the skies didn't start with jets or rockets. In the 1990s, Branson set out to break every ballooning record on the planet. His Global Challenger balloon was an airborne palace. Massive, custom-designed, and driven by his thirst for world firsts. He once flew it over Marrakesh, and even tried to circle the globe with nothing but helium, grit, and a weather report. He also paid homage to the pioneers of flight, once talking to the skies in a full-scale working replica of the Cayley Flyer, the world's first manned glider. The moment wasn't flashy, it was humble. A billionaire showing respect to the moment humanity first lifted off. And while his head might be in the clouds, his garage on the ground is even stranger. As you would expect, his ground crew rides are absurdly on brand. So, one thing that can be said about Richard Branson is that he doesn't collect cars to impress car collectors. He picks machines that break records, break rules, or break out of the water at 30 miles per hour. Let's start with his wildest ride on wheels and waves, the Gibbs Aquata. This amphibious marvel looks like a convertible coupe, but in seconds, it transforms into a high-speed watercraft. In 2004, Branson drove it across the English Channel, setting a world record for the fastest amphibious crossing, shaving more than 75 minutes off the previous record. I'm telling you, it's not just a car, it's a party trick with horsepower. Next on the array is the Fisker Karma, aka Branson's eco-luxury power play. This hybrid electric Grand Tourer is whisper quiet, brutally elegant, and topped with a solar panel roof. It's smooth, sustainable, and silently smug, like Branson himself when a risk pays off. So for nostalgia, he drives British. This Humber Super Snipe is a rare four-door saloon from the 1960s. It once served as his daily driver. You see, with the polished chrome details, hand-stitched leather seats, and walnut wood trim, it's understated by billionaire standards. It's the kind of car that whispers old money without needing to show it. And because no Branson vehicle is without a twist, he also rides an electric bike across Necker Island. This isn't some beach cruiser. It's a custom e-bike fitted with all-terrain tires, minimalist frame, and just enough torque to cut silently through the Caribbean breeze while the flamingos clear the path. And then, of course, there's the Range Rover Astronaut Edition. When it's time to tow the spacecraft out onto the runway, that job goes to the Range Rover Astronaut Edition. This ride is a bespoke SUV built just for Virgin Galactic passengers. Only a few exist, and naturally, Branson had the very first one. Now for the real voyages, the ones measured not in speed but in depth. Branson heads for the sea. Richard Branson doesn't just own yachts, he owns vessels that cross oceans, crush records, or disappear beneath the sea like Bond gadgets and billionaire skin. First, meet Necker Bell, his 105-foot luxury catamaran that's less of a boat and more of a floating five-star resort. Once the largest, all-carbon multi-hull yacht in the world, Necker Bell was Branson's oceanic playground. Designed for charter, she featured a full gourmet galley, a cinema lounge, a jacuzzi on deck, and 4 staterooms with panoramic views, all crewed by staff who know how to mix rum with sunset better than any bartender on land. You could rent it for around $110,000 per week, but only if Branson wasn't using it to sail between Necker Island and the rest of paradise. Next on the list is Virgin Money, a 100-foot monohull racing yacht engineered for speed and chaos. In 2008, Branson and his crew attempted to break the transatlantic monohull sailing record, braving storms and 40-foot swells on a high-risk, high-reward dash across the Atlantic. They didn't win the record, but they won the headlines. Then there's his boldest aquatic toy yet, the Virgin Oceanic solo-piloted submarine. This isn't just a deep-sea explorer, it was designed to dive to the deepest 5 points in Earth's oceans, including the Mariana Trench. Sleek and sci-fi worthy, the sub was unveiled in 2011 as part of Branson's push to open the final frontier beneath the waves. This beauty has a teardrop-shaped body built from titanium and carbon fiber, and wings that fly underwater. The sub features a pressurized single-seat cockpit, joystick controls, and enough reinforced engineering to survive the crushing weight of the ocean's blackest depths. It was less about luxury and more about legend. But the sea is just one frontier. Branson's thirst for thrill and his marketing genius often take him even further out of bounds. For most billionaires, risk management is something you delegate to lawyers and accountants. For Richard Branson, it's an extreme sport that is preferably televised, windblown, and outrageous enough to crash a front page. His obsession with adrenaline didn't start when he got rich. It started when he realized that being seen doing the impossible was worth more than any press release. And so began a decades-long streak of death-defying stunts that made Branson not just a billionaire, but a brand of his own. Take his kite surfing record. In 2012, at the age of 61, Branson became the oldest person to kite surf across the English Channel. And guess what? That wasn't even his most famous ride. That honor goes to the time he went kite surfing with a naked model on his back. Because apparently, breaking records wasn't enough. He had to break the internet too. Then there was the moment he descended the side of the Virgin megastore on the Champs-Élysées in a full-body harness, waving to the Parisian crowd like it was just another Wednesday. Not long after, he was posing with a surfboard while standing on the wing of a Virgin Atlantic plane, a mix of airline promotion, aviation bravado, and tropical holiday vibes. He's also stood atop those same wings, alongside lifeguards and models, mid-flight like a rock star steward for the skies. For most CEOs, riding a plane is part of business. For Branson, it's a stage. And of course, we can't forget the balloon saga. Long before Virgin Galactic, Branson was flying hot air balloons across continents. His Global Challenger balloon was one of the boldest, a massive pressurized capsule designed for a record-breaking round-the-world flight. He flew it over Marrakesh, crash-landed it in the Sahara, and kept trying until the sky gave him what he wanted, a new frontier to claim. And behind every risky move, every balloon, every wing walk, and every world record is a man who doesn't separate luxury from adrenaline. Because for Richard Branson, the thrill is the luxury. But while the stunts might steal the spotlight, it's the circle of people he surrounds himself with. The presidents, the royals, the rock stars that remind the world just how high Branson's orbit really is. In Richard Branson's world, luxury isn't just about what you own. It's about who you invite to enjoy it. And when you're the kind of billionaire who kite surfs before breakfast and lands rockets before lunch, your circle of friends ends up reading like a global who's who. His Necker Island estate, already legendary for its turquoise beaches and no press-allowed privacy, has played host to a long line of the world's most powerful and magnetic figures. It's where Princess Diana brought her young sons for a quiet escape, where Barack Obama spent his post-presidency days perfecting his kite surfing form, and where Mariah Carey and her crew turned up for a week that made it onto MTV Cribs. But Branson's connections don't stop at royalty and former heads of state. His world includes rock stars, Hollywood royalty, tech moguls, and global activists. He shared stages with Desmond Tutu, brainstormed with Nelson Mandela, and stood shoulder to shoulder with climate leaders, astronauts, and innovators who fly private and think planetary. And in the process, he's turned his lifestyle into an ecosystem of influence. He doesn't just run companies, he sets trends, shapes conversations, and makes billionaires look boring by comparison. That's why a seat at his dinner table, a hammock on his island, or even a ride in one of his spacecraft isn't just a perk, it's a cultural honor. But if you're still not convinced, there's only one question left to ask. So, is Richard Branson the most outrageous billionaire alive? Or is he just the only one having this much fun? He's built a brand in space, a playground on the sea, a legacy across continents, all while laughing, breaking rules, and doing it barefoot. He's not the richest man in the world, but he might be the one living it best. So, tell us in the comments. Which part of Richard Branson's life made your jaw hit the floor? Was it the submarine, the island, or the private jet with a spaceship in tow? Drop your answer below. Smash that like button like it's a bottle of vintage champagne on the bow of Necker Bell, and subscribe if you want more billionaire breakdowns just like this one. Because the next time someone tells you money can't buy happiness, just send them this video.